Hey, what's going on, you guys? I have got another review, review back to back, might as well. But this time we were reviewing the Star Wars The Black Series, Clone Commander Bacara from Star Wars Revenge of the Sith. Don't know why you're... If the camera's drifting at all, I don't know why. But anyway, so here's the box. This is Revenge of the Sith, so they've got its own color. They got a picture of Clone Commander Bacara on the back, or on the side, and then on the back you got another picture, and it has a bio that says, known for his aggressive tactics, Clone Commander Bacara led the Galactic Marines, a unit of clone troopers famous for their distinctive armor and relentlessness in combat. This side you don't have anything, nothing on the top, and just a bunch of random stuff on the bottom. So, alright, let's take a look at Commander Bacara. So here he is. Okay, you were standing just fine a second ago. Well, actually not a second ago. Yesterday you were standing just fine. But of course so. But anyways, let's take a look at his accessories first before we get into the figure itself. He comes with two accessories. Of course, I don't know where I put one of them. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Finally found the two accessories. So the one that you saw him holding was the standard carbine for clone troopers. And the standard rifle. Now he holds these he holds these very well, but I am actually going to have him hold the carbine because when we see him in Revenge of the Sith, he is using this. And now I'm not usually a stickler for details like that, but I figured, hey, might as well, do that. Sometimes it's kind of rare for me to actually give them the smaller blasters because I like the look of the bigger blasters more. So, let's get into the actual figure itself here. So here he is. So let's bring him up close. So out the bat, I am going to mention something because I know there are some people who really don't like the fact that he doesn't have like weathering all over him, and I get that in most of the artwork that we see of him, and the one scene that we get with him in Revenge of the Sith, he has weathering, obviously because he's been, fighting a war for quite a few years, and it makes sense. But the thing is, to me, I'm kind of like not caring about that because to me it's like, well, I'm assuming at some point he had his armor cleaned, right? So my theory is that, hey, this just works. And sure, it's not film accurate if you're going to be that way, but I personally don't care as much. It would be nice, but I personally don't care as much. I know some people said that like there's something wrong with like the visor here, but and there might be, because it might be that the visor needs to be more straight, but it, from a distance, it doesn't really look that bad to me. I don't know. It's not as big of a deal. Anyway, not the point though. So my connection to this character is probably what most people's connection is. The Revenge of the Sith scene where he executes Jedi Master and his own Jedi General Ki-Adi-Mundi because of Order 66 and all that stuff. But the other connection, obviously, for me is that I grew up with the Clone Wars. So, having another clone commander on the shelf, especially as one as unique to Bacara, with this type of helmet and, this outfit that he has, is really neat. I hope that we get some of the other Revenge of the Sith commanders that we saw, including primarily Commander Neo. He would be one that I would want to see. And maybe Commander Gree on the newer clone body here. So I do know that they have a clone lieutenant. I forget his name. Neil might be his name. He's a part of the 327th, which is commanded by Bacara. Not Bacara. By Bly, one of my favorite clone commanders, which I do not have. But anyways, getting off track here. But, other than weathering, he looks great. You got, the little comma down here, little iron piece and pauldron up here. And then, of course, the helmet is very unique. I do hope that we get a Galactic Marine, because that would be even greater to have it. And then you got a little antenna up here. The paint is excellent, as always. And you can see the little comm there. So let's take a look at the articulation really quickly. Oh, and the back too, I guess. He's got some extra details on here. So it's been a while since we reviewed a clone, so it's kind of nice. So we can look up about that far. The actual little headpiece here doesn't get too much in the way, but he generally doesn't look up that far. He can look down that far, look side to side. Got a little bit of tilt. His arm goes out. It's also got a little bit of a butterfly joint. He's got a bicep swivel, single jointed elbows. He can go that far. He's got a wrist swivel and a hinge in and out on this one, and I think it's up and down on the other one. He's got a diaphragm joint that allows him to crunch pretty far, actually. Back a little bit. It can go side to side and twist. It's like I'm doing, dance instructions anyway. So interesting. These little pieces here in the front, they're made the way they are, but they actually get out of the way for articulation. But you just have to... Is that the same for the other one? Yes, it is. So that's actually a nice little detail there. But I can kick forward, well, with the armor piece that far, but if you move the armor piece out, you can kick that far. You can kick back that far. You can kick out that far. He's got an upper thigh swivel, a single jointed knee that swivels as well. And he's got a foot that goes that far down, that far up. Rotates, or maybe no, it doesn't rotate on this one. And it's got a rocker. So yeah, let's get him standing here. I'll give him his blaster here in a second. But as you guys know, I'm a sucker for all of the different clones. I grew up with them as a kid, so this is just another, as General Grievous say, fine addition to my collection. So we get him standing up here. So I only really brought down one comparison because, truth be told, I think it's the only comparison that really matters that I have, which is his clone commander, or not his clone commander, his Jedi commander, and the guy that he later executes, Ki-Adi-Mundi. And they look great next to each other. And they will be standing next to each other on the shelf. So yeah. I know it's kind of another, the short one here, but, with these types of, with clones, it's kind of difficult because, some of it we already know. We've seen their armor before. If they have unique stuff, that's like the first noticeable thing. And it makes sense, right? Whether or not Commander Bacara should have been been able to have a removable helmet, he's one of the ones that we never saw under his helmet, so I don't really care. And also for me personally, most of my clones I will always have the helmet on, but it is a nice option if you so desire it. But I don't think we've ever seen Bacara without his helmet on, unless it was in like concept art or in a comic or something like that I didn't see. So, but yeah, I hope you did enjoy this review, and if you did, like, share, and subscribe. And let me know who your favorite clone commander is. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.